Hello, welcome back to Ascendria Tarot. My name is Caitlin. I am co-owner of Ascendria, which is located in Polson, Montana. We don't have a lot of updates. We did have 3 different teas highlighted this week: the ruby red dragon, the golden dragon, and the blue-green dragon. Go ahead and check out our Instagram, Facebook, or TikTok for more details on that. For the 4th of July tomorrow, we are going to still have those 3 dragons highlighted, but we are going to be out front and giving samples of those highlighted teas. So go ahead and stop by if you're local. The parade's going to be going, not right by us, but pretty close. Let's see, anything else? Polson has the Cherry Festival coming up at the end of this month, and for that Cherry Festival, we're going to have the Flathead Cherry Blend from Nerdy Girl and Kalispell, and then we're also going to have Cherry Cherry Cherry, which is a tea blend, also from Nerdy Girl and Kalispell. We get all of our teas from them. That's all I have for updates. Some disclaimers though. Anytime you're watching a tarot reading, take what resonates and leave the rest. Don't try to force it to fit in your life. You will know if a message is for you or not, and that's okay. So, I think we're going to do signs today, but what's going to be different is I'm not going to use different decks, and I'm only going to pull tarot and then 1 oracle at the end. And I'm doing my own spread that I created. And it's called The Dreamer's Rebellion. Gotta find it in my notes. Let's see. It is going to be the tyrant. What external or internal force has kept you small or silent? This is the system, person, belief, or fear that's acted like a ruler over you. The second one is the spark. What dream or truth inside you refuses to be silenced? This is the soul's whisper, the thing too sacred to be abandoned. Number 3 is the uprising. What action must you take to claim your personal freedom? This is a concrete step towards rebellion and reclamation. 4, the fallout. What must you be willing to release or risk in order to rise? This is the loss, discomfort, or shift that is part of transformation. Number 5 is the new world. What becomes possible when you live as your whole free self? This is the vision on the other side of the revolution. So, I was going to... This would be interesting. Okay, well, I have notes on 2 different pages that I need, and I don't want to rip any pages out. It's a whole deal. Anyways. Ooh, you know what I could do? I could just rip this one out. Okay, put that there. Let's put that there. Okay. We are going to start with Pisces today. See what we have for Pisces. Every time I shuffle, the flame of the candle almost goes out. Okay, Pisces. This is the Dreamer's Rebellion spread. first card up is the Tyrant. What external or internal force has kept you small or silent? Three of Cups, which is usually fairly good. The Three of Cups is like, in this deck, to me, this is about getting into a creative flow. Tell me more about the Three of Cups. Queen of Swords, which she can be a little cold, but she's very sharp-witted, can see through bullshit. I almost want to say it's like the industry of whatever creative endeavor that you are experimenting with. Because, like, for example, the music industry. I know a lot of people would rather go independently because they don't want to deal with the music industry because there's a lot of bullshit there. So you might be seeing through that bullshit, but it's kept you small or silent. Maybe there's like these rules within the industry that has kept you from moving into this creative endeavor. Because, like, for example, I have been getting into posting on social media a lot more with our business. And so now I'm getting all of these videos on my feed that they all say the same thing. Like, oh, you're doing all these wrong things for posting on social media. You need to be doing this. I just want to post. I just want to have fun with it. So that might be the Tyrant. The next one is the Spark. What dream or truth inside you refuses to be silenced? What is the Spark for Pisces? Two of Swords. Two of Swords is usually like a decision. And one that you're not necessarily blind to, but not all the aspects to make that decision have come to light yet. There's still something that is hidden for you within that decision. But I want one more because I don't see how that's a dream that refuses to be silenced. That's a lot of cards. I don't want that many cards. Okay, Three of Coins. I think the dream is, especially with this creative endeavor, you just want to work on your shit. You just want to get in that creative flow and create. You don't want to have to make a decision on whether you're doing it right or wrong. You just want to go with it. Just run with it. Let's see. The Uprising. What action must you take to claim your personal freedom? What action must you take to claim your personal freedom? What action must you take to claim your personal freedom? What action is Pisces taking? What action must Pisces make to claim their personal freedom? So I got the Five of Swords, and the line that goes with this is the last man standing has lost everything but the will to continue. And so with this coming out with the uprising, what action must you take to claim your personal freedom? I see this as like, if you've ever seen, what is that movie? It's like the old claymation of Kris Kringle, like the story of Santa Claus. And I think it's, they run into like an old wizard. And there's this song that they sing because he didn't know how to walk. He just used his magic. And they sing the song where it's like, put one foot in front of the other, and soon you'll be walking out the door. So that's what was going through my head with this card in this position. Just put one foot in front of the other. Just keep going. And let's see, the fallout. What must you be willing to release or risk in order to rise? What must you be willing to release or risk in order to rise? I think this is more of a risk. It's strength. And I don't think that this is necessarily something that you're releasing. I think the risk is, how do I put this? It's not that you're risking your strength, but you're risking doubting that strength. Risking a little bit of imposter syndrome to get there. Basically, that's saying like that could be like a part of the journey is this because like I even said, you know, it's the loss or discomfort or shift that is part of transformation. You might have to go through a little bit of that doubt and imposter syndrome to get to the other side. Hope that makes sense. The new world. What becomes possible when you live as your whole free self? What becomes possible when you live as your whole free self? Four of Wands. This to me, in this deck, is like, you see how like all of that is like bright and green and sunny, and then everything outside of that is just chaos, destruction. So what I see with this, peace becomes possible. You know, you might have to go through a little bit of doubt, possibly with this decision on whether to go with what everybody in the industry is saying, or just following your own like intuition and heart with this creative endeavor. And once you get to the other side, once you keep putting one foot in front of the other, eventually on the other side of that, and you probably won't even notice the shift because it'll be so subtle and so slow, it's going to create a sense of peace, this like sanctuary aside from all of the chaos. You might find like this center of peace within yourself that is grounded and sure of yourself, and the chaos that is out there is what everybody else is saying. So you have like this bubble. It's almost like, you know, those sounds that you see on videos that are like, it's all this background white noise, and then all of a sudden it just quiet. So you're finding that bubble of quiet within yourself instead of listening to the noise around you, which is awesome. So what I'm doing with the oracle cards, is I am pulling an advice card for this spread. What is the advice for Pisces regarding this spread? What advice do you have for Pisces regarding this spread? What advice do you have for Pisces regarding this spread? I'm going to pull that one. Otter Spirit, you are never alone. That could be, another person supporting you in this endeavor, or it's just saying that Spirit is with you. Whatever higher power you believe in, whether it's the universe or God or Spirit or the Creator or, whatever you call it, you're not alone. You're being divinely guided. That's awesome. All right, Pisces, if this is where we part, I hope that was clarifying for you, or not confirming, confirming. Either clarifying or confirming for you. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. It really does help the channel so that other people can find it. And if you want more of the store updates and what we have coming, go ahead and listen to the intro. It's got all the updates that you need. And yeah, let's go ahead and pop into Cancer. Should be 1748. All right, Cancers. Go ahead and cleanse the deck. Okay, Cancers. This is going to be your Dreamer's Rebellion spread. See what we got going for you. First card up is the Tyrant. What external or internal force has kept you small or silent? Okay, Cancers. Who or what is the tyrant in Cancer's life? Oh, the moon? How's the moon keeping you quiet? Because to me, in this deck, the moon is about being comfortable in the taboo and making space for the dark, shadowy aspects of yourself or the broken pieces of yourself, and really holding space for those. Not feeling shame for them. This might be the belief or the fear that's acted as a ruler over you. You might be very comfortable in, the kind of taboo, shadowy, dark aspects that most people shy away from. And this belief or fear might have been that like, you can't be too forward with that, or you can't be too open about taboo things, or you have to keep that part of yourself hidden, which has kept you small and silent. Okay, I'll see you. Well, and like, the moon, duh. That is literally like Cancer. Cancer is ruled by the moon. There's even a little crab at the bottom, and of course it's not gonna focus. I don't know how to get this phone to focus on what I want it to. Yeah, no, I don't know. But anyways, that is your card. Okay, what is the spark? Not that big of a spark. Come on, Cancer. Calm down. Cancer's like, I want to know what my dream is. Okay, what dream or truth inside you refuses to be silenced? It's too many. What dream or truth inside you refuses to be silent? What dream or truth refuses to be silent? Four of Swords? Four of Swords is like, it's not just rest, it's a restorative rest. Like, if you've ever been like burnt out by the end of the week and you just like, you feel like you could sleep for 12 hours, maybe 24 hours. But it's like, it's a restorative sleep, restorative rest. I think the dream is a slow, quiet life. To be able to hear yourself better. Yeah. Let's see what is in the uprising. What action must you take to claim your personal freedom? What action must you take to claim your personal freedom? What is the uprising for Cancers? What action must Cancer take? Ace of Cups. Which is usually either... Aces are either something new or the embodiment of that suit, the essence of that suit. Which Cups is emotions and intuition. So either something new or tapping into like the essence of your emotions and intuition. But how does that relate to action? I almost want to say, like, follow the inspired action. Your intuition will tell you what step to take. Yeah, in order to find the next step, like, get really centered with yourself, tap into your own intuition, your own emotions, they will lead you in the right direction. Okay, so the fallout, what must you be willing to release or risk in order to rise? Knight of Swords. Which knights are fire, but swords is air. And the Knight of Swords, he gets a really bad rap for being too rash, too impulsive, maybe a little harsh, but he's a master strategist. What are you releasing or risking in the Knight of Swords? Tell me more about the Knight of Swords. Give me one more card on the Knight of Swords regarding this fallout. Five of Cups. To me, in this deck, it's like she's got all these broken pieces. And so she's like holding on to what's left with everything she's got. She is holding on for dear life. The fives are usually like discomfort and loss and heartbreak, conflict, challenges. So in the realm of emotions and intuition, this is not the best time. It's almost very survival mode. I think, don't quote me on this, I think what the risk is, you might have to risk getting your feelings hurt. That, or in one of my new decks, one of the cards said that you have to be willing to risk like being called crazy or weird or being seen that way. So you might have to risk or release other people's perception of you. You're going to have to risk being called crazy or too out there. And you're going to have to release the feelings that come up with that. You know, because Cancer babies, they sensitive. And if somebody calls you crazy, you might get hurt by it. However, there's this saying that my husband and I always, it's funny because my husband is a Cancer. We always say when they call you crazy, get delusional. Because they're only going to call you crazy during the process. And then when you actually go and achieve what you're dreaming about, this slow, quiet, peaceful life, they ain't going to call you crazy then. So you're going to have to risk being called crazy and maybe getting your feelings hurt there and, you know, release those feelings that come up in order to rise above it. Does that make sense? Anywho, the new world. What becomes possible when you live as your whole free self? What becomes possible when you live as your whole free self? I just heard Jubilee. Not as like a song or anything, just the word Jubilee. Interesting. You get the same one as Pisces. Maybe there's something in there for you too. Four of Wands. Right? Yeah, Four of Wands. This is like peace in the midst of chaos. It's like all bright and sunny and idyllic in the middle there, and then all this around it is like chaos and destruction. So the way I see that is finding this inner peace in the midst of a storm. You're gonna have to find your inner calm, your inner voice. Because if you listen to all these people that are calling you crazy, you're not going to achieve your dream. You're going to continue to stay small and silent. But if you kind of release the feelings that come up when people call you crazy and keep going, it's going to create this bubble of peace, which is what you're looking for. This peaceful, slow, quiet life. That's what this is. Awesome. Okay. Let's get advice out for you. What advice do you have for Cancers regarding this spread? What advice do you have for Cancers regarding this spread? Take a leap of faith. Don't listen to them, people. Don't listen to them calling you crazy. Take a leap of faith. And listen to your own damn self. Hell yeah. Alright, Cancer. If this is where we part, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. It really, truly does help the channel to grow and get other people in on it. But yeah. If you're interested in any store updates, go ahead and shoot back over to the intros and updates if you didn't watch it. Everything you need to know is there, especially if you're local. If you're not, don't worry about it. Just like, comment, and subscribe. Okay, let's jump into Scorpio. Okay, Scorpio. Let's get your deck cleansed. Get a little reset there. Okay, if you didn't watch the intro or updates, we are doing a spread today that I created. It is called the Dreamer's Rebellion, and I will let you know what each position in the spread is as I go along with it. So the first one up is the Tyrant. What external or internal force has kept you small or silent? Who or what is the tyrant in Scorpio's life? The Empress. What's weird is all the readings so far has had like something fairly positive as the tyrant. The Empress is like, she's a divine feminine. She births new things into the world. I mean, she does bring life into the world. But it's like that divine feminine aspect of creation. You know, women are the only ones who are able to be that vessel for, you know, from spirit to the physical. From the intangible to the tangible. One more on the Empress. The World. I'm gonna be real honest. Some Scorpios might be pregnant. And you're getting to the end of the term. So it might not be a physical pregnancy. It might be like like either an emotional or a spiritual or a mental pregnancy where something is in gestation. It's growing. It's almost like, when you plant a seed, the germination period is quite lengthy. It takes a little bit for it to break the soil. So this might be the end of that gestation period, the end of the pregnancy, whether it's physical or spiritual. And because the world speaks of that kind of, that transition, that shift from what was into what is coming. It's, the end of a chapter and the start of a new chapter. But how is that the tyrant? I almost want to say it's a fear, because this position in the spread is the system, person, belief, or fear that's acted as a ruler over you. I almost want to say this is a fear. The fear of like what's coming, because a lot of first-time moms, they do go through that, and especially like first-time dads too. When it gets close to the due date, everything starts to get so scary, and all this anxiety comes up. Like, am I gonna be a good parent? Am I gonna do, this? Am I gonna do that? Am I gonna do this right? Am I gonna do this right? It's almost like you want everything to be perfect, and you just want to do it right. So you're fearing that new chapter because you might you feel like you're not going to do it right, and it's not going to be perfect. Screw that, Scorpio. Screw that. You'll be fine. Just keep going. What is the spark for Scorpio? What dream or truth inside you refuses to be silenced? The Star. This is like wish fulfillment. It also, in my other deck, it's got a different image. This one doesn't give it to me as much as the other deck, but it also kind of speaks of that connection to a higher power, to God, spirit, creator, what have you. It also speaks of that connection. Letting them guide you towards your wish fulfillment. But what is the dream? It's very clear that your wish, your dream, it ain't going away. I don't know, with the Star coming out after the Empress and the World being the tyrant, and kind of this fear of this new chapter and whether you're going to do it right, the Star is you might be scared, but you refuse to give up on it. You refuse to let that fear stop you. So you're yeah, you're scared, but you're doing it scared. You're still running full speed ahead towards this dream. You're just scared. So it's almost like this balance of getting pulled back and oh, but I still want to go. So you take a step forward, and it's oh, but I'm scared. So you take a step back, and it's oh, but I really want it. So you sit. It's like this back and forth. I do still want one more card on the Star though. What is the dream that refuses to be silenced? The truth might be that dream is meant for you. One more card on the Star. Seven of Swords. Seven of Swords is theft. So that almost like, because a thief, what do? They steal things that are not theirs. So it's almost like, the Seven of Swords with the star. Like I said, that truth within you is that this is meant for you. Whether you're scared or not, you want this, and it's meant for you. You're not a thief, you're not an imposter. It's meant for you, and you are meant for it. Back and forth, in between. Okay, what is the uprising? What is the action you must take in order to rise? No. I'm sorry, I said that wrong. What action must you take to claim your personal freedom? So we've got 10 of coins, which coins being pentacles is very, physical realm, money, values, but it's the tangible values, the tangible, that's why it speaks to money, because as humans value money, but it's like abundance within that. The 10 is the last card of the suit. It's the culmination, it's the completion. So this is like abundance of wealth, whatever that wealth means to you. And then the 5 of Cups, which is, this came out for Cancer as well, but all these broken glass, and she's holding on to 2. It's like, with being cups and being emotions, it's like you have all this shattered, broken pieces of yourself, and you're holding on to the remaining pieces of yourself for dear life. I almost want to say, well, but that's not an action. Because I was going to say, it might be a mindset shift from lack mentality to abundance mindset, but that's very internal. What is the concrete step here? Tell me more about the 10 of coins and 5 of cups. Okay, Queen of coins. Like I said, coins being pentacles, it's very, physical reality. But queens are water energy. They're receptive. So the Queen of coins, she's very, very practical in the way she leads her people. I think this speaks to what I was saying with those cards. The whole doing it scared, doing it anyways, which is what you're already doing. Because I'm almost getting with the Queen of Coins of like almost a fake it till you make it. You might be scared, but you're coming across to others as very, very grounded, very practical, very knowledgeable on whatever endeavor you're stepping into. But you're already taking this action. You're already doing it scared. You're doing it in spite of the broken pieces of yourself, and it's leading to an abundance of wealth, which is awesome. So the fallout, what must you be willing to release or risk in order to rise? What is the fallout for Scorpio? Three of Swords. Which Three of Swords is like really intense heartbreak, but it's also discomfort and tension. I think this is a release. I don't think this is what you have to risk. I think this is what you need to release. There's some past pain, past heartache, or discomfort or tension that needs to be released. And it's honestly probably this fear that you've got going on of stepping into this new chapter. I would suggest really sitting with that fear. Ask where it comes from. Ask yourself, where did this come from? You know, when's the first time I felt this fear? And you know, really sit with it and analyze it and feel it, because it needs to be released in order to fully step into that, because you're already doing it scared, which is great. At some point though, you have to reflect on that fear and release it so that it's not sitting in your body. You know, it's almost like your mind is ready to go and your mind is doing it scared. But the more you do it scared, the more your mind goes forward, but your body is still stuck in that fear, because your body remembers things your conscious mind isn't going to remember. So, I don't know if you're into all the spiritual new age, but they always say that our bodies hold that pain. Emotional pain, physical pain, your body holds on to it. So it's this, you almost need to excuse me. You almost need to, while you're doing it scared, keep reminding your body that it is safe now. It is safe to receive this gift, receive this love, receive whatever it is. Even if it's, because the Queen of Coins is receptive, even if it's, receiving that wealth, it's safe. It's okay now. And you have to remind your body of that. Release that fear. Get rid of it. What is the new world? What becomes possible when you live as your whole free self? What does the new world look like for Scorpio? What does the new world look like for Scorpio? What does the new world look like for Scorpio? Goodness. That's a lot of cards. What does the new world look like for Scorpio? There we go. 6 of Coins. That's actually kind of cool. The 6 of Coins is like... So, 6s are always a restoration of balance. It's restoring harmony. And in coins, that's in the physical, tangible, finance world. So the 6 of Coins speaks towards this concept of give and take. And they're setting the coin on this side, which is going to even it out and balance it. So it's almost like all of this is leading towards a balance of like a healthy exchange of giving and receiving. That's pretty cool. I don't know what you're giving or receiving, but either way, having that balance is really awesome. Because most of us struggle with the receiving end. We don't struggle with the giving end. It's the receiving end. I'll tell you what. Alright. Let's get some advice out for you. What advice do you have for Scorpio regarding this spread? What advice do you have for Scorpio regarding this spread? What advice do you have for Scorpio regarding this spread? Oh my lord. That's a pretty good card, Scorpio. Freedom is yours. Freedom is yours. I almost, with that, I like heard on the tail end when I said that. Freedom is your choice. That's what I heard with that. Freedom is your choice. You know, the freedom from all this fear, it's up to you. What choice are you going to make? Are you going to release the fear, or are you going to hold on to it? Anyways, that was a really good reading, Scorpio. I didn't call you Cancer, did I? I don't remember. Hopefully I didn't. Anyways, Scorpio, I hope that was very clarifying or confirming for you. If this is where we part, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. It really does help the channel and let others find it as well. If you're interested in any updates, if you're local, go ahead and check out the intro and updates if you didn't already watch it. I put in just a little bit of updates there, if you're interested. So let's jump into Virgo. Okay. Virgo, let's cleanse your deck. Okay. Let's see here. So if you did not watch the intros and updates, I am doing a spread that I created myself, and it's called the Dreamer's Rebellion. And I think I forgot to put it in the intro, but I created it specifically for the week of 4th of July. Okay. The first position is the Tyrant. What external or internal force has kept you small or silent? This is either a system, a belief, a fear, or a person that has kept you small. Oh, wow. There was a card underneath that, and I didn't even know it. Anyways, we got the Lovers, which it could speak about a relationship, but 9 times out of 10, it's speaking towards a commitment, a choice that is in alignment with your soul. And then 4 of Coins was underneath that, like almost hiding. And the 4 of Coins, you know, normally 4s are stability, so you would think it's stability within finances, but to me in this deck, with this card, it's not necessarily greed that I get from this card. It's more of like a almost fear. Like, you've got all your coins and you're just holding on to them and clutching them and like, don't take my stuff away from me. Like, getting very protective and defensive of it. I almost want to say it's like getting defensive over a choice. Is somebody else getting defensive over a choice? What's the force here that's kept you small? This could be coming up in a lot of different ways. It can either be you or another person is having to defend a choice that you made, or you made a choice and you're not sure if it was the right choice or not. So you're almost like internally defending the decision that you made to yourself. If it is about a relationship and not a choice, you could be like really defensive over the person that you're with. Like, maybe others around you don't like who you're with and you're getting like very defensive about it. That is very odd. Maybe it'll make sense once we get other cards out. What is the spark for Virgo? What dream or truth inside you refuses to be silenced? Is that... Okay, that's only 3. I can do that. So we got the King of Cups, which he's... any king is a ruler, the lawmakers, the decision makers. But within Cups, being emotional and intuitive, the King of Cups really makes decisions based off of his own intuition. He leads from the heart, makes decisions from the heart space. He lets his emotions guide his decisions. And then we have Justice, which in this deck it talks about like making decisions in an unbiased way. Both of these figures, they're each a part of the decision. They both influence the decision, but they don't influence each other. So they're making an unbiased decision together. And then Ace of Swords, which aces are either something, the start of something new, or it's the essence of that suit, which swords is communication, it's thinking, logic, that sort of thing. So this is the dream or truth inside you that refuses to be silenced. You might be getting defensive within a relationship, because I see this dream as being like almost like you want to be a part of the decision making. somebody might be making like all kinds of decisions without you, and they're getting defensive over them, and you're not necessarily mad about it. You just want to be a part of the decision. You want to be part of making that choice. It's almost like the truth that's inside you is that your input holds value as well. Your input is just as important. Your thoughts and your words are just as important. Interesting. What you got going on, Virgo? Let's see. The uprising, what action must you take to claim your personal freedom? What action must you take to claim your personal freedom? What is the uprising in Virgo's life? The wheel, which the wheel speaks of like a shift. You know, like the turning of the wheel. It's a turning point within your life. It's not necessarily the completion, because the world is the completion. It's the end of a chapter and the beginning of a new chapter. But the chapter's not over yet. It's just a turning point. It's not. I wouldn't use chapters as an example. I would use like the story. The story is not over. Whatever book you're reading, it's not over yet. This is just the turning point. I almost want to say you got to make a decision, which that might be part of that decision. The turning point. I feel like this is a decision. Is it worth it to stay in what you got going on? To keep, defending the fact that your voice and your input matters just as much? Or are you gonna move on? Just gotta call it how I see it. Anyways, I just seen that the time was off, so that's gonna mess with my timestamps, but it's okay. We will go with it. Okay, next one is the fallout. What must you be willing to release or risk in order to rise? What is the fallout for Virgo? What is the fallout for Virgo? What is the fallout for Virgo? Knight of Wands. Knight of Wands is double fire because knights are fire energy, and then the suit of wands is associated with the element of fire. So it's double fire, double passion, double willpower. It's very, very quick paced and very, if not confident, then I want to say almost arrogant. Not even arrogant. It's like it's either confident or overconfident. The Knight of Wands leaps without looking, and that could be a strength, and it also could be the downfall. Because I also get a little bit of like burnout with Knight of Wands, because it's burning up so much passion that you just end up burning out. But that's not what I'm getting with this right now. I'm getting something I've never gotten with this card, being in this position of what you need to be willing to release or risk in order to rise in this situation. You might have to risk everything going up in smoke. Everything you know just going up in flames. It sounds scary, but at the same time, like, think of a phoenix. You know, that it's hard letting all of that investment, you know, whether it's time that you put in, energy that you put in, money that you put in, years that you put in. It's hard to let something like that go and let it burn to the ground. But if you do, the phoenix will rise from the ashes. Or if you think of it in terms of, like, we're in Montana, so, you know, we have a lot of wildfires. Well, whenever there's a wildfire, you know, the next year or the year after that, everything that was burnt gets so green and vibrant and luscious that all of that new growth is so incredibly beautiful. And it's, don't get me wrong, it's scary when the fire is going. Trust me. And it's stressful. It's intense. But it's worth it. I don't know so much about the wildfires being worth it, but whatever is going up in smoke in your life, it's worth it. It's worth it. Might not seem like it now. The new world, what becomes possible when you live as your whole free self? What becomes possible when you live as your whole free self? What does the new world look like for Virgo? Aye. Two of Swords? What? Two of Swords is like a decision, a really difficult decision, which we've already got a lot of decision making in here, but it's like the Two of Swords, it's almost like there's something hidden within this, like some sort of variable has not come to light yet, which makes it hard to make that decision. So I almost want to say it's the opposite of that card. The new world, you know, what becomes possible when you live as your whole free self, you're going to be able to make that decision. When you stand in your own self and recognize that you hold value, that decision's going to be easy. It's going to be a no-brainer, almost like, why didn't I make that decision beforehand? There's some crazy stuff going on, Virgo. Crazy teens. Also, I do want to throw a disclaimer out there. Not all relationships are romantic. So this could be, you know, a work relationship with a boss, or a friend who's a roommate. It could be romantic. I'm just saying, like, it's not always romantic. What advice do you have for Virgo regarding this spread? What advice do you have for Virgo regarding this spread? Oh, we got two. It's the first time I've gotten two. Crow Spirit co-create with spirit. And then Coyote spirit. Trust in divine detours. That is giving me this Knight of Wands energy. Trust the fire. Trust that forest fire. Because it's going to lead to making that decision and this turning point within your life. So co-create with spirit. And trust the forest fire. Well, Virgo, I hope that was either clarifying or confirming. If this is where we part, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. It really does help the channel to grow and reach other people. If you're local and you didn't watch the intros and updates, go ahead and watch that for a few updates and events coming up with Ascendria. We aren't hosting the event, but we are participating in the events. Sort of. Anyways, we are going to jump into Taurus. Okay. Alright, Taurus. If you did not watch the intro, this is a spread that I created for the week of 4th of July. It's called the Dreamer's Rebellion, and I will explain each position as I go. Alright, Taurus. The first position is the Tyrant. The external or internal force that has kept you small or silent. Alright. Who or what is the tyrant in Taurus's life? Apparently you got a lot. Oh, that's interesting. So we've got the Devil, which... Sorry. This would make sense because the Devil is like... it is a self-made prison. It is something that has a hold of you that you are absolutely free to, break away from, but it's gonna require some consistency and willpower. And then the Queen of Swords, which she's very sharp-witted. She can see through the bullshit. She gets a bad rap for being cold, but she's very, very calculated. And then the Star, which is wish fulfillment. That is so odd. I almost want to say, like, it's almost like the Devil and the Queen of Swords are almost separate from the Star, because the Star is wish fulfillment. So I see this as being the dream, and then whatever external or internal force that feels like cold and imprisoned is like blocking that dream. What do you have going on? Oh. like I'm getting something, but I don't know how to explain it. It's almost like your dream, your wish fulfillment is like readily available, but it's almost like you don't trust it. Because the Queen of Swords sees through bullshit, but I almost want to say, like, within the shadow aspect of that, you're almost seeing everything as bullshit. Like, not actually able to identify the true bullshit, which is keeping you in the self-made prison. Like, it's holding you back from achieving your dream, but you're the one holding yourself back, if that makes sense. Because you're seeing everything as bullshit, and you're getting, like, almost cold and resistant to that dream. Why? Interesting. Maybe it'll come out in the cards. Number 2 is the spark. What dream or truth inside you refuses to be silenced? Queen of Cups. So the queens are water energy. They're very receptive. So with the Queen of Swords, that's water and air. With the Queen of Cups, it's double water. To me, in this deck, like, this card is all about, like, going with the flow with these, like, currents of life. Trusting the process. Almost, like, able to feel... That's, like, the best way I can describe it, is, like, the currents of life. I almost want to say, like, it almost seems like you're your own tyrant. Are you self-sabotaging? Because it's like when you're in the flow and you're trusting the process and you're, like, riding the waves of these currents, you're in the flow. And that's almost like the truth of your nature. That's like your true self. But then this not self is one who, like, almost doubts and resists those currents and tries to, create your own current. Whew. You had an intense reading. What is the uprising? This is the action you must take to claim your personal freedom, and it is the Hermit, which is the card of Virgo. But the Hermit, to me, is a very intentional self-isolation. It's going to be by yourself in quiet to better be able to hear yourself, your true self, not your not self, your true self. So you might need some quiet time, Taurus. Maybe a little meditation, some grounding. Okay, what is the fallout? What must you be willing to release or risk in order to rise? 9 of Swords. This is that sword hanging over your head, the anxiety, the fear, the doubt, the resistance, the worry. you gotta release that. Release all the anxiety and worry. And that is so much easier said than done, I know. But I think in order to release that, you're gonna need to get grounded. Ground yourself. Meditate. So the next one is the new world. What becomes possible when you live as your whole free self? And we got the 10 of Swords, which it looks bad. I know. It's 10 swords being stabbed in his back. That doesn't sound fun. However, the 10 is the completion of that. So this is the end of that suffering. So what becomes possible when you live as your whole free self is the end of all of this internal suffering within your mind. I kind of want one more. Because what comes after the end of this suffering? So we got 9 of Wands. That is the 6 of Wands. My bad. It's victory and triumph. It's like... So if we think of it in terms of like the sequence within the suit, the 5 of Wands is either internal or external conflict. And then the 6 of Wands is kind of restoring harmony and restoring balance. So it's like this moment of clarity when all of that doubt goes away. And then the 7 of... There's another card there. They've been sticking together and hiding from me this whole time. 7 of Coins is like... Usually what I hear with this specific card is there's nothing to do but sit and wait. Because, you know, you've already planted everything, you've already tended to it, it is growing, it's almost ripe, it's almost time to harvest. So there's nothing to do but sit and wait now. And then the 4 of Cups. The 4 of Cups speaks towards like either boredom or malcontent. You're not content with your life. I think what becomes possible when you release all of that worry and that doubt, it does end the suffering. And there is this moment of victory. But the thing is it's almost like you come to understand that this is not going to be all the time. We can't always be 100% in this energy. Nobody is going to have a completely perfect day. There's always going to be something that pulls you down a little bit. And there's nothing you can do about it. Nothing you can do about it. It's hard to see where the 4 of Cups comes in with all that. Because, like, yes, we can't always be in the 6 of Wands, this victory and this triumph and happiness and joy. But that doesn't mean we're always going to suffer either. It's a balance. I think it's the opposite of 4 of Cups that's going to become possible. You know, this malcontent and dreaming of more, it's almost like once you come to understand that there's not ever going to be a day that is 100% perfect. It's almost going to quell some of that discontent, malcontent, this boredom, this wanting more and not seeing what you already have. All right, well, y'all's got the most interesting reading so far. So let's get some animals out for you. What advice do you have for Taurus? Trust the great mystery. Trust the process. Trust your true self. Trust the great mystery. Yeah, whatever dream this is, you're being divinely guided. Your true self will show up. Okay, Taurus, I hope that was either clarifying or confirmation for you. If this is where we part, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. It does help the channel to reach other people and grow. If you're local and you want some updates and you didn't watch the intro, go ahead and watch the intro. There are a couple updates coming up at the end of the month, so go ahead and watch that.